Hey everybody, so I just wanted to jump on here today and leave my review for Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Now, like I had said in my previous post regarding this book, this is actually the first Stephen King novel that I've read. So I went into this with a complete open mind. I can't really compare this work to any of his other ones because, again, I never read those. But I would be curious to know what other books of his that you guys have read, and if you are a fan of his, and if you really enjoy it, please write that book in the comments below. I love a good referral because I really enjoyed this one, and I can't wait to tap into something else that he's done. Now, even though I've never read his works, obviously with the movies and the shows that have been adapted from his works, I already got a great understanding of just the world that he likes to build, that really dark and just moody and ominous setting that he often likes to display, and it's awesome. So I was very excited to check out one of his works. It just took me a while, but I finally got there. And this is actually the longest book I've ever read. Usually I typically select a book that's no more than about 430-ish pages. And that isn't because I'm intimidated or anything. I never cracked open a book that was longer than that. Usually I go for things that are more on the YA side or an autobiography, and typically those don't really go more than the pages I just said. So cracking this open was a real experience because I just continued to read up to 600 pages long. And I thought it was a really fun time. I got really invested into the world of Fairy Tale, and I really love just the imagery and the visuals that are kind of displayed here. Another thing is that I haven't really read too many fantasy-like novels, so I can't also compare what world building looks like in other books. And if you are someone who reads a lot of fantasy and maybe you've read this one, I'd be curious to know the comparison for you, and if you thought this offered anything different, if that world building was something new for you. Let's talk about that. But just to give you a little backstory about this is about a young boy named Charlie Reed. He's 17 years old. He lives with his dad. He's a high school student about to graduate. He had lost his mom when he was very young. So he and his father kind of experienced grief and things that happened as they got older, and their relationship were quite rocky as a result of the passing. And you kind of get a really nice little backstory there, which is what I loved. I'm starting to think that's why Stephen King books now, again, this is the first one, but I'm starting to get an idea that maybe they're long for a reason, so he can take that time to explore the backstory, which I appreciated. I want to say the book goes about maybe 50 to 70 pages before we actually even get into the main story. And that's because we got to explore Charlie, his dad, and just kind of their relationship before anything else, which I really appreciated. But one day he comes across a grouchy, cranky old man by the name of Howard Bowditch. Under an unfortunate circumstance they meet. However, they do bond this really wonderful friendship. And you think, Charlie is just going to assist this man and just kind of help him out whenever he needs, until he discovers a very dark secret. So now that Mr. Bowditch's health is falling really, really poorly, he has to now share a really dark secret with Charlie because there's no one else that he has in his life that he can tell this to. In the backyard of his house, there's this shed with a well in it, and underneath that well is a portal to another world. And what ensues is just mind-blowing. At least I thought so. Again, can't really compare it to a lot of fantastical elements or backgrounds of other books that have been built already by other authors. However, I think the one in this one was very interesting and very fascinating. Like I said, I was very hooked from the beginning, and I was just very excited to explore the world of Empis. That is the other world in which Charlie accesses from the bottom of the well. Now, I don't want to go too far more into the story there, just because I don't want to spoil anything, but what I can say is the characters in that other world that he goes to are quite fascinating. I just kept imagining, like I imagine we all do when we read, just who, how this person actually would look, or what that visual would look like if this was drawn. There are a couple visuals throughout the book, just at the beginning of each chapter, but not enough to really give you the full imagination. So that's kind of where it's left open to your own interpretation, which I also enjoyed. But yeah, just overall, I thought Fairy Tale was a really nice read, very fun, engaging. I will definitely be reading more of Stephen King books. Like I said, please mention any of your recommendations by him in the comments below so I know to look out for those in particular. He's written dozens and dozens of books. I wouldn't know where to begin next. But this is his most recent publication, and that is why I chose it. I figured I'll start somewhere. Let's just start with the latest. But yeah, I really had a good time, and I think you will too. So I'm going to give this book a pass. I definitely think this is something worth your time if you are into drama, if you're into fantastical, and if you're also into horror. It kind of gives you the three elements that I believe Stephen King is best known for. So he kind of gets to give us a little bit of everything with this one. But yeah, that's my review. I would love to know again what your thoughts were if you happen to get a chance to read this book. And also let me know what you're reading for 2023. I'm excited to see what everyone is up to, what books that you're checking out. This is just one of many, but this is one that I can't talk about more. So I had a good time, and I think you will too. But yeah, drop those books that you're reading in 2023 in the comments just so I can look out for those as well and maybe add those to my TBR. So yeah, let's talk books.